Guys, let's talk about Keith Thurman. So there's a lot of talk about Keith Thurman. Errol Spence said he's not a top welterweight. For me, Keith Thurman's still a top welterweight. He's still top 5, and I feel he's still got a career. He's still got a career if he puts his head down, focuses. I still think he can come back. I don't think it's a career where a lot of people question it. I was questioning it, but I do feel that if he has the hunger, has the desire, which a lot of people are questioning right now, I do believe he can come back. Whether he can become world champion, it's another story altogether, but he can definitely come back and do something in the welterweight division. It's just that he needs to, in my opinion, he needs to come back. They're talking about a fight, with a top level fight. I'm not sure. I think he needs to probably ease back into it, and then towards the end of the year have a top fight, because Keith Thurman's at the stage in his career where he can't mess around too long. He wants big money fights. He wants big meaningful fights to keep himself motivated, because at the age he is, he can't be fighting lower level competition. It's not going to motivate him, especially with the amount of money he made fighting Pacquiao. He's going to want to get his teeth into a big fight just to keep himself motivated. So I do think that Keith Thurman, if he can have a tune-up fight, and then towards the end of the year have another tough fight or have a big fight, I think that's what Thurman should do. I think he should ease himself back in it. I do think he's still a top 5 welterweight. Some people are questioning that position and saying that he's no longer a top 5. I don't think I could put Danny Garcia ahead of him. I think the top 5 for me are Spence, Crawford, Pacquiao, Porter, and Thurman. Even though Thurman beat Porter, but it was a while back, and since then a lot has changed. Thurman's had injuries, been off. Then he got beat by he didn't look great against Lopez, and then he got beat by Pacquiao. So a lot's happened in that time. It's not like it's the Thurman that beat Danny Garcia. It's not. It's or the Thurman that beat Porter. It's a completely different Thurman now. This Thurman looks a lot more vulnerable than the Thurman that beat those guys. So would Thurman beat Sean Porter right now? I think it's a very tough fight, a very, very tough fight. The first time was a tough fight. I actually thought that Thurman that Thurman that fought Sean Porter could probably beat Spence. I don't believe this Thurman can. That Thurman would have given Spence a lot of trouble. This Thurman, I think he's too vulnerable to beat Spence. This new Thurman is too vulnerable, the way I look at it. He's still a top welterweight, and he can still mix and match it, but I just don't think this Thurman has what it takes to beat the top welterweights. I believe he's amongst them, and he can mix it with them, but I wouldn't favor him. I wouldn't favor him against Porter. I wouldn't favor him against Pacquiao. I wouldn't favor him, or he lost to Pacquiao already. I wouldn't favor him against Crawford, and I wouldn't favor him against Spence either. I wouldn't favor him. He'd be a live underdog, but that's what he would be, a live underdog. He wouldn't be a favorite in my eyes. I think a lot of you guys would agree with that as well, because I just think that those guys have got the bit between their teeth and they're hungry. Sean Porter's like an animal. He keeps coming and coming and coming. And I think right now, what I saw against Pacquiao, that would be horrible for Thurman to go through that. Horrible. Plus, I don't think Thurman has the power that he had before as well. Before, Thurman hurt Porter in that fight. I don't know whether he has that same kind of snap in his punches he did back then. But like I said, I want to see these guys fight. And also, I don't know whether the top guys are that interested in Thurman anymore. I think Errol Spence v Thurman could be a massive fight. I do think it could be a huge fight. I actually think the pay-per-view, although Spence and Crawford is the fight everyone wants to see, I think if it's built right and Thurman can come back strong, I do think that pay-per-view wise could do quite decent numbers, because I think they're both characters, and I think when Thurman gets into it, I think they could sell that quite well. I think it's a massive fight. But yeah, for me, Keith Thurman's still a top welterweight. What do you guys think? Leave your thoughts. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.